You're listening to Life Check Yourself with life coach, transformational leader, and dating and relationship badass, Marni Batista. Every week, you'll get the raw truth from top experts and real people on the important life and love issues you want to know about. So, if you're ready to life check yourself in your relationships, your career, and the areas of your life that matter most to you, and you're not afraid to be called out on your, stuff, then you're ready for what's next.
Life Check Yourself with Chris Gillis. How hard should you fight for it to work? Ladies, and if you're a gent, welcome to you too. Here for Life Check Yourself. I'm here with the amazing Chris Gillis. And we are talking about Love Island episodes 40. Is it 43 to 50?
Yeah. A week's worth of drama into one episode.
Wow. That means it's literally almost over. I mean, I think this weekend could be the end.
Yes. Got it. Yeah, I think you're right. Yep. It's almost done.
So funny. Oh my God. All right. Well, I think I first want to talk about just getting broken up with. And we know that Casey is dating Claudia, and they bring in the last two bombshells, and Keenan and Rosie. And this rarely happens, that somebody who comes in near the end is actually viable. And I want to talk about Casey because Casey's head gets turned. He breaks up with Claudia. He kind of puts Claudia in this waiting game for 3 days, which I want to talk about her whole, like, I'm not somebody's option. And then he ends up choosing Rosie. And so before we talk about Claudia, I want to talk about Casey. Because Casey seems like, and maybe I've said this before, he is like that casual, fun guy who has so much potential, and he just dates someone for like a month or 2 months, and then he finds someone else, and then he dates them for 2 months or 3 months, then he finds someone else. And I just feel like in the villa, it's just been accelerated. And I'm not sure if that's who he is or he's really into Rosie. Because to me, he seems like he's acting the same way he did with Claudia that he did with whoever was before Claudia, who I can't even literally remember.
I think you're right.
Lana.
I think it is. I think you're half right, and the other half is this. I think you're half right that he is the kind of, you talk about the quality casual guys, kind of archetype men. The guys, yeah, they're around, and you're like, oh, he could be so much, and he gives me these, not even crumbs. It's just a little bit of a meal.
He tells, and so he tells, like, I really like you. I really like you. But he's not really emotionally like available. He never goes to the deeper level like Shaq does, or even Tom, who like barely speaks.
Yep. And that's my second half of my point, is because he doesn't go and have, he doesn't access, we'll say, I don't know if he's got it in him or whatever, but he doesn't access that into that pot of emotions. He freaks the fuck out and runs when Claudia starts emotionally dumping. She doesn't know what to do with it, so she's like, barfs it all over him, and he's like, ick, get away. And so she goes from this gorgeous bombshell, he's in red and feathers and flies in like a swan, to just a pigeon or rat. She's like, look, get away from it. I can't stand this chick.
Well, that's what's crazy is, and this is what I think women really need to hear, is that when you start to like overcompensate and lean in too much, it becomes unattractive. It's like you're making the decision easy for him. He's like, you're annoying. However, I think that with this situation, he was never going to choose her. Yeah. So that being said, if it's like a math problem, if you're going to get the same result anyway, hold your head up high and actually act like you're not a second option. Don't just say it, act like it. Just be like, you know what? Seems to me like you like Rosie better than me. That hurts me, but that's the decision. You don't need to think about it anymore. I'm good. Like, so, that would have been so much better than when are you deciding? When are you deciding?
Yeah. Do us a favor, especially for the gal listeners. You use the word lean in, and I think his name's, what is the ex-CEO of Facebook, Miss Sandberg. She wrote a book called Lean In.
Wrote a book. Yep.
And it can be construed and hold in a different context where it is very powerful, brave, assertive, not victim-y, way to be. So maybe distinguish for us what you mean by, in this case, not leaning in, and maybe even a different word of what. So
yeah, I mean, so what we mean on our campus, this is so good. I should do a TikTok video on this. What we talk about in leaning in is that you are able to be vulnerable, but you're like a redwood tree.
Yeah.
Right? Like you are grounded, you are confident. Your worthiness is not based on anyone else's behavior, judgment. And so from that place, you have this resilience. That's what we call rejection proof, where you can lean in, meaning you can say like if Claudia would have said, I'm really hurt by this. I thought we were more solid. I really like you. This makes me angry.
Yeah.
And also like you clearly like someone else better. And that's a big pill to swallow.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to deal with that. However, I'm not like waiting for you to choose. Your actions are demonstrating how you feel. And I'm not anyone's option. And I am removing myself from the triangle, right? To use their language. If she would have done that, like on day 1.5, instead of waiting until day 3, I think that she would have just saved herself a lot of heartache. Again, it's going to have the same result. Yeah, maybe, but maybe Casey'd be like, shit, wait, I don't have all the power. Who knows? Right. But she gave him the ick. She made the decision super easy. And by the end of day 3, he was just like, it's obvious.
I'm big on metaphors, and I love the one you used about how you said roots and a tree, and you mentioned well, when I think of trees, and the ones with the truly strong roots, they can lean, they can sway, but they don't ever topple because their grounding is so powerful. I just listened to read a book by Harv Eker, and he said something over and over again. He said the roots create the fruit. And it really is. When it's your roots, people don't see. People see the fruit. People see, but it's the roots, and the roots are the things that you're talking about, Marni, that you work on with your gals. All that extra inner work, and just getting really clear on who they are. So then, when the storm does come, they don't get toppled over, right?
Right. And I'm going to continue with your metaphor, because I love it so much. And so when we're clinging. Right. And Claudia is clinging to the idea that Casey is her person, right? Yeah. She's so attached to that she's not even really understanding like how he's treating her or thinking about Casa, right? She's clinging. And so if we go to the tree metaphor, fall happens, right? The leaves fall, right? We have to have winter, right? Because the leaves fall, and that is the nutrients that bring the next season, the next guy, right? So rather than cling to this relationship, right? Let it fall, like be sad, like let it fall, right? Let it die. Give yourself that time to be in pain, right? Like, but that letting go and that healing time is the nutrients, right? You go into winter and you think about what you learned, and you kind of give yourself self-care, and you figure out what you're going to do in your next relationship. Let it go. And that way you can just sort of emerge in the spring and be ready to blossom. And it's when we're in that clinging phase of our redwood life, that it's harder to let go of that relationship or that idea of a relationship. And so I just think I wanted for Claudia to do that and just move on. Right. And then in the end, it's so sad. They have their last conversation is this giant fight, which is she keeps it all inside, all her anger, all her resentment, and she just all over him. And then she like gets sent home. So because maybe Keenan could have been her person if she would have given it a minute.
Right. And I love how you, again, on that with that metaphor, and it's how you reminded us that all the relationships, there are seasons, right? And they change, and she gets stuck on it. The tree doesn't keep insisting that it's summer when it's not, and things change. And, sometimes you let go and you buckle up, you hunker down, and then you grow. Like you said, you go within, wait, and reemerge on there. So there's another thought I had on that, but it'll come back in a second.
Okay. Okay. So now we talked about Claudia. We talked about Casey. Casey is like, I'm not sure. Like, I would say if I was dating Casey, or a client of mine was dating Casey, I would say like, let's just see what the data shows over time. Because he has zero patience. Even when Rosie gets upset about the gossip that's going around that he said, whatever, about that he wasn't giving her enough attention, and he was a lad's lad, that he liked to be part of the Three Musketeers. When she has that scene and she's like, I was really hurt and I was upset, he was sort of like, we already talked about this. Right? I give you a lot of attention. I've told you I like you, like back off,
Mhm.
And he doesn't do what maybe a Will do, where he'll be like, oh, I can understand how that would make you feel. Come here, let me give you a cuddle, Jesse. Right? He's just sort of like, get over it. And I didn't like the way they sort of turned that whole conversation around with Rosie. So let me tell you, if you're not watching. So what happens basically is that Rosie tells Casey, which I think is decent, like, I feel like you say you like me, but your words and actions don't match. And Casey says, well, now that Claudia's gone, I'm spending a lot of time with you. And she was like, oh, okay. And he says, don't you agree? I did this, I did that. She's like, okay. So then she goes, and this is a mistake. She tells her friends, I had a conversation with da da da. And then Ron says, oh, well, Casey, he's a lad's lad. He likes to be the Three Musketeers. You should pull back and then see if he comes running to you. Was that what was that advice? Like, should she just take what Casey said and just keep it and believe it? Or, because I think a lot of people do this mistake of consensus building. They have a problem, they talk to their partner, and then they go and they tell their 4 girlfriends, their mom, and their girlfriend's boyfriend, and he'll give opinion. And then you're really confused. Did Rosie make a mistake there?
Yeah, got it. And I'll pick up what I was going to say about the seasons thing is interesting. What I do, like, we kind of both agree that it's kind of cool because this is such a long show here on episode 50. We do get to see some of this season. Yes, it's not winter necessarily, but it starts off spring and then summer, and then now we're kind of seeing the fall, and people are like, getting a little, putting their sweaters on and getting a little icy and cold and picky with each other and snippy. So yeah, I do. And that's why we got to find some other shows, and anybody that's have you comment, gals, if you're like, there's a show that shows other relationships. I know we can talk about like the spring and this, and the fun summer, sexy time, hot girl summer stuff too. But I was going to say with that said, yeah, guys, gals, when you're consensus building, holy moly, take stock of who you're asking. So in this case, Ron, who we love, but in the beginning, Marni, if we rerun the tape, you're like, that guy, he's crazy, he's not available, and he's given the same bad advice that he was using on his own, which is typical guy advice, which is not communicate your feelings.
Play a game.
Skip the vulnerability.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Bad
and look,
advice.
hand to God, Marni, friend to friend, that I even have a tough time communicating feelings, and I do this stuff, often. So it is hard. So yeah, he went back and he gave his crappy advice, gave it to a gal who is capable, who speaks much more fluent in communicating her language. Okay, I'll be like a dumb guy. I guess that's what'll work. Doesn't work though. So be careful who you're pulling.
Yeah, be careful. So then it starts into this whole drama thing, and Casey's sort of like, I have no room for it. So I think that if you have the courage, which she did, to just be direct and have the conversation, let the guy say what he says. It's early days, as they say, for them. So now then just watch and see, is it a Rosie thing? Like, she's insecure? Is he really not giving her the time of day? We don't really know, because we don't really see it all. But don't go around and ask 14 other people. Consensus building is probably one of the biggest mistakes you could ever make. If you see yourself doing it, just notice that you're doing it to try and soothe your hyper vigilant amygdala that is scared and triggered. So just don't do it.
And okay, I feel like she's almost removed herself from this show. I'm like, who the heck? I remember seeing her at first, and now I feel like she's almost kind of shut down. She's trying to be a dude or whatever. So she's just got, she's barely even on, in conversations or anything like that anymore.
Yeah, I don't know about Rosie so much. I don't know. I think Rosie, I don't think they're going to last on the outside. Okay. We didn't even talk about the whole ranking thing where they're like, who's the bad dresser and all that. But we are going to do that. Okay. But so before we get to that, I want to talk about this thing that you called in those notes, how to get away with murder. Olivia. If Olivia were a guy, she is such a bad for you guy, and I don't understand. So we have her on camera just lying and being two-faced constantly. When Jesse has a confrontation with her and says, which I'm impressed by Jesse most of the time, like, no, let's talk it out. We're all here together. Like, let's have a conversation. Olivia just walks away.
Mm-hmm.
But what I want to talk about, which you didn't put on here, but I thought it was so juicy. At the beach club party, the little couples are having these convos. They're deep in it, as they say. And Olivia's talking to Maxwell and, I really like you. I really like you. And she basically sets him up to ask her to be exclusive. And he was like, I was planning on asking you a couple days from now, but like, okay, why not? This is romantic. And the way she did that, I just felt was so aggro. Like, that you don't want to set up your, like, oh, it's so romantic. I thought maybe you would, I really like you. I wonder, everyone's exclusive. Like, what do you think about us? And he's like, well, did you notice that, or was that just me?
No, I did. Everything about her is just scary. I think it's the word.
And the internet is worried that when she's my age, she's going to be bald because she pulls her hair back so tight every single day. If you Google Olivia hair, there's like 5,000 articles.
Got to hold all those secrets in there tight so they don't escape.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah, no, very, very, gosh, yeah, there definitely, she is like the male version of her is just so freakishly scary. And Marni, this is what drives me nuts, is what I said, how to get away with murder. And gals, these guys, because you want to strangle them, and yet you don't. You keep them in your tribe over and over. Like, what are they still doing here? And I mean, good Lord. Why is this woman?
Why?
Nobody calls her on her shit. I don't know if it's because it's exhausting or because they're British and they're too kind. And I don't know, but I'm like, get her off this island on a one-way boat with no paddles and just let the sharks nibble on her.
Remember we were talking in the last episode and I said, I think Olivia will go next, but I was like, her drama kind of faded, a little bit, but I love the public. That's what we call the British people who vote, the public. They didn't forget that Olivia was not a good friend and not a good girlfriend. And so they got rid of her, and she gets to leave with exclusivity with Maxwell. Good luck. Let's see if that one's still going strong. Although I could be wrong about these things. Okay. So let's talk about,
I just want to say, Marni, but why do you've kept some crappy friends around.
I did.
This is maybe a little sidebar, but maybe it isn't though, because relationships are relationships. Why do we keep those? And I have definitely kept a couple of shithead friends around for way too long. We were just talking about Lord Farquaad a minute ago before this. And I'm like, and looking back, I finally, when I grew up emotionally and loved myself enough, it was actually ironically during COVID, I was like, wait a second, what am I doing? Letting this person, she's a person, every time you hang out with them, you feel worse. And that's what unfortunately, that's what Olivia does. She's one of those gals. And what is going on if for your listeners who have that,
Yeah, in my early days when I was single, I had some friends who were super questionable. And I think that, and some of them, I think it was because they were at the same energy level that I was, which was like sort of like addicted to drama, like not a lot of self-worth, kind of like victim-y energy. And it felt really fun in the moment. Like if you're addicted to drama, right? Like Olivia is like, I want to do gossip, or, what's wrong with me, or what's wrong with him, or how do I get him, or what did he say to you? Yeah. You get in those energy fields, and if that is what fills up your I'm not enough resource, right? By being around people like that, then you get caught in it. And so what happens is and this happens with our clients that we work with so often, their energy goes up and they start getting self-worth, and suddenly it's not fun or enjoyable or feeling good to be around those people anymore. And in fact, so much so that we have a term for it on our campus. And what we say is like, if there's someone who you really can't get out of your life permanently, they become a movie friend. A movie friend is a friend who you go do something with, and your energy around that activity is enough to keep the connection going around the activity, right? Like a movie, you go to the movie, you have some popcorn, you talk while you're getting your tickets, you sit there, you watch the movie, maybe you get dinner after, you talk about the movie, you leave, right? Or you go putt-putt golfing, you talk, you're focused on the golfing, you leave, right? And if there are people like that you can't get rid of in your life, or family members, like make them movie friends, but if they're people that really don't serve you, it's like the clinginess, right? Like there could be some better friends in your summer. So let them go.
And
oh my God.
A red flag I would say to look out for. And I saw Livy do it, and I thought, holy smokes, as I'm telling you this, my other guy friend would do it. She's the gal who always says, who pats herself on the back and says, I am brave enough to direct and tell you to the front. I am not a snake. I always tell you, directly, or I'm giving you honest feedback because I care about you. But it's not, you're not giving honest feedback because you care about me. You're giving honest feedback because you actually feel like a piece of shit yourself. So you're actually trying to hurt me so you can stand on top of me. Like you said back in the day, I don't know about you, but yeah, I think my self-worth was lower than it was. So it did feel, like mother's milk, unfortunately, to come back to this person and constantly remind me and have him step me down over and over again. But his intentions weren't actually to ever give me that positive feedback to lift me up. It was always to reminder to keep me down because you'd see me growing.
Yeah. And those kinds of people don't want you to get better, because then you'll leave them, right? And they don't want to be alone. But if I look back even at the person I was married to at that time too, right? Like that person put me down, right? So that's just sort of what I was used to. So it was, like you said, mother's milk. So it was super, super, super familiar. Okay. Let's talk about, let me pull up my little Chris Gillis list. So what do you think? Okay. So Reality Reina sent me some really funny tweets about the Islanders. And one of them was a whole thing on Ron and Lana kissing. And the comment was like, Ron and Lana look like a couple of pensioners. And so I asked Jeremy, I think I know what that means, but I'm like, what does that mean? He's like, oh, well, when you're in retirement and you're really old, you like get a pension from the government. And so, it's like old people, right? They're pensioners. And Ron and Lana have a whole conversation, and they're like, we're saving everything for on the outside. Like, we don't need to put on a show here. That's just not our style. We're both comfortable. So we might as well just talk about it because it was like 2 episodes. Is Ron playing a game? Is it weird that they give each other little smooches and they don't snog? Is it okay to not be into PDA? What's your takeaway with that whole argument that Ron is just playing a game to get to the end and win $50,000?
You think he's going to win? You think they're going to win? That's kind of what you're possibly.
I think they might win, either them or weirdly Kai and Sanam.
Yeah.
Because they're just, even though Will said in the talent show that they were vanilla and they don't have any drama whatsoever, they're just there to do their thing. But
vanilla ice cream is delicious. So you can have it every day.
I know. You can put toppings on it.
Yeah, put toppings on it, spice it up. There's a lot of wiggle room on it.
Okay, so what do you think about Ron? Do you think it's weird do you think they kiss like pensioners? Do you think there's no chemistry? Like, what do you think?
I don't think they do. I think she has, I said it before, I think the gals, you guys kind of let us know oftentimes the relationship vibe. Well, especially because Ron is he's a lad's lad. We saw him do it where he couldn't expose any feelings. So she, I would say, kind of keeps the pace of the romance race. And she is, even when she talks, she's a little geriatric in the way she speaks, and she just has that very low kind of sweet grandma energy to her. Very
like her.
Yeah, I know she's a sweetheart. But she
is really sexy. Like, she was super sexy. I think that she is what they call wifey material. Like, I just think she's kind of down to earth. I think that, I don't know if it was a strategy of Ron's to like date a bunch of people and find someone and then cruise. Maybe that was his strategy, but maybe he just couldn't decide and he just decided finally after Casa.
To answer your question, yeah, I think that it is okay. Everyone has different levels of comfortability, PDA, and I think they just kind of matched up. I don't know if we ever talked about that before, but that is something important to figure out in early relationships, because sometimes people do want a lot more. And one of them is like, oh, I'm a little nervous of it and scared of it. And it's kind of a strange combo to have, like, hey, will you grab my butt more in public? Because I kind of like it. And the guy's like, really? I'm okay with that. Okay, no problem.
That's so funny, because Jeremy sometimes wants to just snog me like in public, or
I like it.
grabs me around my kids, and I'm just like feel so uncomfortable. The only time I want to snog you is at a music festival where you're like surrounded by like a zillion people, but like
wait a
waiting
second.
outside like for your valet or something, I'm like, feels too much for me. I don't know.
Really? Well, there you go. Well, you answer this question, then you're better than I am, because I'm a snogger in everywhere, public grabber, that sort of thing. But you're right. I haven't seen you guys snog. I have seen him make a couple efforts, and you kind of swat it away.
I whap him away, but he is super affectionate, and I really do like that. Actually, I do like that a lot, that he's super affectionate. I'm just more of like a private.
You're
That's
like
not
Ron.
true. Well, no, that's not true. I will hold your hand, and I will like touch you, put your arm around you, and I'll even kiss you in public. But like the snogging is like way too much for me.
You would go around the corner, make sure, like Ron does those kind of.
Yes,
you can see it, and then you get your chicka bound on, and it'll get freaky there.
Plus, I know that it literally, my kids have said like too much, like do not do that in front of. It makes them feel uncomfortable.
That's very sweet of you to
I don't want to snog.
Check them.
I think that Ron is not, I may be my naive, but I think Ron is not playing a game. I think Ron is a little boy, and he had a lot of candy in the candy store. And then he realized that he liked, Kit Kat bars, and he got like a life supply of Kit Kat bars. And I think it's like, he says like, I've never had a girlfriend. Like he's not really, he's kind of showing us who he is. And I think it was a big deal for him to do that. And I think Lana is really sweet. And I like the way they back each other. I love when Ron got really upset that people were gossiping.
Yeah.
And he said to Lana, I know you don't like it when I create drama, like if I go off, but it's really hard for me right now to not do that. And she was like, no, I'm so fuming too. Like you go do what you got to do. But I like the way he kind of like checked in with her. I thought that was like respectful. Like he didn't do it with like, should I say something? He was like, oh, this is really hard. I'm so angry. I know you don't like it. And she was like, no, it's okay. So I just thought that was cool that he had an awareness of like her comfort. And I also liked in his explanation to his friends, like when you say shit about me, you're saying shit about my woman. And so I'm really aware of how that impacts her. And I don't like that for her. Like I can handle it. So I feel like he's our little Ron's growing up.
Yeah, he's not a wimp. And that's sexy. And I'm glad you brought that up. His self-control is amazing. So yes, he did a lot of questionable things. He's like you said, he's his first girlfriend. We'll see.
We'll see.
How he deals with it.
Little Ron. Okay. Last thing. Well, I think, what do you do if you're dating a guy with no style? I never really noticed Shaq's skinny jeans until Will put them on. Will wears pink, and he's just really confident. My ex-husband, when I met him in the 80s, had clothes from like the 70s. And I was like, ooh. And so I was like, can you, whatever. I think that my current husband would love to look like really stylish, but in the end, he just wears like board shorts and a tank top. Yeah. Here he's just wearing like sweatpants and a sweater. I mean, do you know what I mean? So I wonder, and that's the really interesting thing is like, you can have a style, but what if your comfort zone is one way, Like I've never even really seen Dr. Emily super dressed up. I've seen her super comfortable and casual. Yeah. I notice here, because I'm living in winter currently, it's really hard to put on jeans. Like I might as well just put on like some warm sweatpants. Do you know what I mean? I've got a sweater on, but anyway, I just wonder about that. Like, should you even give a shit about someone's style? And are you ruling people out that are really great people? Cause you're like, that's weird. He's wearing a pink jacket. Like, I don't know. What do you think?
I think what's interesting and a little caveat to know is we all show up in the very beginning of our season, our spring season, we'll call it. And we are making an effort. We are, and my girl definitely does that. When she is going out to hang out with her trendy friends, she will like, pull out shit. I'm like, where did you get that from? I have never seen you wear that before. I'd love it. I think it's awesome, rad. But the truth of the matter is, like you said, in you and Jeremy, we spend most of the time when we're around in those weird latex, whatever the heck she's wearing, or rubber pants or whatever it is. Like they're not comfortable in the house, right? They're not housewear. She's like, well,
No.
you know, in the end, she's like, well, take me out and I'll dress up. I'm like, fair enough. You know, right? I'll wear those appropriate things. Whereas when we see these people on Instagram or festivals, like you were mentioning, everyone's all dressed up like, wow, they must have great style. Let's not assume that they're always dressed up super cool.
Exactly. You know, what's funny
whatnot.
is when I get dressed up to go out,
Yeah.
which I do like to look cute when I go out. Jeremy will be like, oh, I'm only wearing this.
Yeah.
Like, you know, instead of just saying, wow, you look amazing, which he does say, but then he's like, oh, I am only wearing this. And I'm just like, I roll, whatever.
Give him a
You know,
chance.
but it's funny. It's really funny.
I was gonna, my point was that in the very beginning, it's important to note, ladies, as sometimes you're like, well, did I get tricked or whatever? Because he used to,
right.
You dress up. No, you wear pink. You know, Jeremy didn't walk around wearing board shorts and a tank top on your first date, even though it was comfortable. Is what. Then we're like, okay, she likes me. It's almost
yes.
props. Like she likes me for me now. I don't have to do this whole razzle dazzle Hollywood, you know, glitz and glamour, and you know, do my hair or whatever it is, and all this. And I'm definitely guilty of that as well. But I think it's important on the other aspect to be true to yourself. And if you are a person who loves to be creative and express yourself that way, to do that, and not necessarily like to kind of become one. Like even Jeremy was like, I need to look more like Marni when you're out and about. And but it is the conversations, which you're probably going to ask is, well, how do you do it? And it's important. Words have to be chosen carefully. I've definitely put my foot in the mouth. It can come across critical. We don't want to do that. Tanya did a pretty good way on the show, even though I'm not a big fan of her, of kind of, you know, laughing and it's Shaq and saying, you know, cute or whatnot, and bloke's busting his balls. But yeah, how do you?
I don't know. I just think Shaq takes his shirt off and does his little, I don't know what he does with himself. I was like so uncomfortable during the talent show.
Yeah, what was that?
Sexy dancing. I was like that. Yeah, and Jeremy's like, we already saw this when they did sexy dance night. Like they all, that was.
Yeah, okay, for anyone not watching the show.
Last thing. Because we have another show to record, but here's the thing. You know what I loved? My favorite part of the last week was Tom freaking singing that song. Oh, no. You're amazing just the way you are. I loved it. You know why? Because it sounded shitty.
Yeah.
He was super confident. I've never heard the guy open his mouth and talk, like say that many words at one time.
Yeah.
And he was just saying to his woman, like, you're amazing. And everyone's saying about how amazing my girlfriend is. And he just didn't care that he was shitty. I loved that. I even loved Casey playing the trumpet shitty. Like, I just think it shows like a confidence, you know, like you don't have to write the best poem, or you don't have to, you know, say it the right way. And it doesn't have to sound great, but like, just say it. Like, we just want to hear it. And I just thought that was really sweet. And the ladies were saying like, oh, it was so bad, but in some ways made it so good, right? Because it's so vulnerable. So I loved old goofy Tom. Tom might be in the top 3.
I'm going to take that home with me, write that down for the guys that I'm coaching, because that is really interesting. Because I was coming from the perspective of a guy thinking it's got to be perfect and sound cool, and it was so cringy. And I saw the gals, you know, loving and clapping, and I was like, oh my God, he must be so embarrassed, or they're, you know. But that's so interesting. I was like, I thought they were just kind of being nice, but no, I guess not.
They were cheering him on. It reminds me of like when you go to a talent show with little kids, you know, and they suck.
Yeah.
But like everyone's like,
kindergartners,
right? Because they're out there being themselves and they don't care about what anyone else thinks. And to just express that, choose that song and sing it for her.
And all she is
he's a
long
big
you've been wanting him to open
6'4",
his mouth.
6'5", big old guy.
Yeah.
Being super goofy. I
Yeah.
loved also that she taught him how to dance, and he was dancing. You know, she taught him how to tap dance, and he's doing it. And so I think my most improved player would probably be Tom, because I'm just really seeing his like personality. Before we just thought he was like cheesy eye contact, manipulative guy. And now we're seeing his playful side. And I think that's really sexy.
And he even showed a tad of self-awareness with that whole drama thing that when they were kind of talking crap. About was it Casey and or Ron rather, with him and Sammy, and he's like, wait, was that us? I was like, oh geez. So you're right, he did show a little bit. That is a great takeaway. Be vulnerable again, guys. Louise, doesn't matter what you sound like, it's the effort, not the execution. Okay.
Yes, I love the effort, not execution.
Never gonna get easier for us.
Oh my God. Ladies, make sure that you go check out Chris if you know some dudes who need some coaching and style help. Consultantchris.com. You can follow us. We changed our TikTok account. It's now called @MarnieBatista. So if you are confused, we're changing everything slowly to @MarnieBatista. Our Instagram is on the way, but for now it's still @datingwithdignity. And of course, you can find out more about how we help people at datingwithdignity.com. Share this, watch it on YouTube. Like it. If you're listening on Apple Podcast, apparently they created a new little step, by the way. Make sure you subscribe. There's a little plus button in the right-hand corner. If you're watching this on or listening on your phone, just make sure you click that plus button. Subscribe. It helps us help more people. And with that, whatever you do, life check yourself. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey, thanks for tuning into today's show. So if being in an intimate relationship in which you feel 100% seen, heard, and accepted by a high caliber man is a priority for you right now, and you're interested in seeing if you're a fit for working with me and my team at Dating with Dignity, here's what I want you to do. Just head over to DWDVIP, that's D as in dating, W, D as in dating, VIP.com, and book a call to speak with my team. We'll get on the phone with you for about 60 minutes and you'll get crystal clear on what's stopping you from finding true love right now. We'll also take a look at what you want to create, what you want your whole life to look like when you're able to finally be fully expressed as a woman in a healthy relationship with an incredible guy. And if we can help you get from where you are right now to where you want to be, we will show you the fastest path possible that makes sense for you to do that. We help smart, successful women all over the world solve this one missing piece in their life so they can finally have it all. So to see if we can help you do the same thing, head over to DWDVIP.com. I'm Marni Batista, and let's talk soon.